Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Brian with Superman's Comics, and we got a special live stream tonight. We're going to talk about running a comic book channel on YouTube. I got a very special guest that's Comics with Bueller, so I want to introduce him. I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of him, aware of his channel, but here we go. We got Comics with Bueller. Introduce yourself, buddy.
Hey, everybody, this is Comics with Bueller, and I'm on Simpleman's Comics with Brian, and this is pretty cool because I've had Brian on my channel before, and he's invited me to be on his channel to talk about this great subject. And I was pretty excited when he posed this subject because I like talking about this stuff. And thanks for having me, Brian. We're going to have a good time tonight.
All right. So, yeah, when he had me on his channel, we spent a lot of time before and after offline just discussing our YouTube channels in general, getting ideas off each other. And we just felt that between questions he's gotten asked, some questions I've gotten asked in comments, it's, hey, why don't we do a live stream together where we share lessons learned, some tips or tricks? Because I know, not that my channel is big by any means, but
huge.
When you're just starting out, it's hard to find information on how to do things. So I figured this would be a good opportunity for both of us to share some of our stories and some stuff that's worked for us. And the people in the chat, if you guys are in the chat and you have lessons learned and can chime in at any time. We're going to bring you guys into this, ask your questions. But real quick, anything else before we get into this?
Like you said, anybody has any questions, and me and Brian were just talking about this. This is kind of really important that if you do have questions, you ask us, and we want to interact with you guys as much as possible about this subject because it's kind of cool. And we're trying to, we like it when we see other people jump into this arena of doing the YouTube videos. And, you know, I don't think anyone's really figured it out yet. And who knows? It could be you, Barbarian Kung Fu, who figures it out. And you, all of a sudden, you're showing us what to do. And you're like at the top of the mountain type thing. And we're like, Barbarian Kung Fu. We knew it all along.
Exactly. And the more you, one thing, when I first started out a YouTube channel, it was very isolated or solo, finding my way through. And what I've noticed as doing more and more channels, you meet more and more people online. I'm not even talking about in person, but through chats, through Instagram, through other channels. It is really a great community. So as a community, it's great for this to come together and help each other out. I mean, that's the whole point why we're here. And I guess we'll just start with, I'll ask you, Bueller, and then I'll give my answer is what actually made you want to start a YouTube channel to begin with?
The basis of the channel was I was bored. It was pretty much it. It was something I've always liked comics. Okay. And as most people do, and everyone's story on this is pretty much about exactly the same as far as people our age. They have an earlier life. They are in the comics. Life happens. They step away. They take care of what they need to take care of for many years. And then eventually they find themselves back into this hobby that we once enjoyed as kids and stuff. And that's kind of my story. I stepped away for 20 some odd years, found my way back and started collecting comics again, loved it, and found YouTube and saw all these comic book channels and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try a channel and I'm going to make a video. I've never done any type of video before on YouTube. And I just did it. And that's the hardest thing to do is just to do your first video, whatever it is. And everybody can go back and look at their first video. It's cringeworthy. I mean, I'm pretty sure nobody's going to sit here and say, man, my first video was gold, you know, because that's not what it was. Mine was cringeworthy. So was a lot of other people. But just the fact just to do it. And then once I did it and once I kind of really saw, you know, this could really be a thing for me. And I enjoy doing this and why not do it? I really went full bore. And you can kind of see the moment where I just went from making a video here and there to where I was like, I'm going to kill this thing, man. I'm going to go ahead first and I'm going to devote myself and my time and my effort to this thing. And it pays off. It really does. It just takes time and luck. Luck is the biggest thing. Luck is definitely the biggest thing. But I look back and it's been a little over a year. It's been a year and a few days. And a year ago today, my first subscriber was my mom. And probably everyone's first subscriber is either a family member. And now I think about all the people that have subscribed. It's I'm close to 4,500 right now in the year, and I've met or talked with a lot of those people, and I consider them all friends, and all part of the community. And I maybe don't talk to some of them as much as I'd like to, just because it just gets pretty intense, and stuff like that. But the moments I did get the chance to talk with them and get to know them, those are very special moments. And life is made of many moments, and those are the type of things that I remember. But that's kind of why I got into it, because I was bored. But now I can't say I'm bored anymore. So what kind of got you into it, Brian?
So mine's kind of a two-way approach, right? When back in 2012, 2013, when the CBSI first started on G+, and everyone was sharing information through Google Docs. So I was doing like my monthly previews, or basically my weekly picks, and it was in a Google Doc, and we would just send the Google Doc link to the CBSI group, and people would look at it. And I kind of got lazy about doing that, and I was just like, you know what if I just did like a slideshow? So I did a slideshow for it, and would just share the slideshow out. And then at the same time, my oldest kid was at that age where he wanted to play video games but didn't know how. So I would just put like Mario on YouTube and hand him the iPad and let him play it. And then he started getting more and more addicted to YouTube videos. And then I'm sitting there watching to these YouTube videos, and you're watching, some of those kids' channels. You look down and you see how many views and subscribers and stuff that they have, and you instantly think, man, that's got to be pretty easy to do. I can do that with comic books, and do a YouTube video about comic books, and do weekly picks and stuff like that. Well, you find out really quickly that you don't just get millions of views and subscribers and things like that, but it kind of evolved. And it went from slideshow. I wanted to say slideshow for a minute. Went from slideshow, and then went into start doing more videos. And then, like you said, once you start doing it, you always want to get better at it. So then you start doing all this research on it, and you're looking at all these other YouTube videos, you're looking at all these other comic book channels, and trying to get pieces. How can I make my content better? Hey, and then you find out this is actually kind of fun to do.
Yeah.
So it kind of evolved into that. And my channel's older than yours. Like, I think I started in 2016. But I like you said, there is a moment where like the light bulb goes on, and you start putting together better content. Or it's never perfect, because every time every time I publish a video, it's like I could do better, but publish. And that's one of the hardest things to get to, where you put the stuff out there regardless, because you're never going to be perfect.
And sometimes you show the wrong cover.
Wrong cover.
But there's
Wonder
a question.
Twins came out this week. I had Wonder Twins, and then Wonder Woman was the next title, and I had Wonder Twins as the title again. So
what are you gonna do, right?
I'm the king of mistakes.
I do it as well. There's a question we have by and I always pronounce this guy's name. Can you pronounce this? It's Kachung. Is that right?
I'd say Kachung.
Kachun. Okay, he says, what's a good mix of live versus pre-recorded shows? And I think that's a good question, because somebody actually asked me that before. I think that, and I'll give my answer first. I think as far as a mixture goes, if you watch my videos, for the most part, my videos lead up to my live show at the end of the week. So I promote, and then live show at the end of the week type thing. The main thing I think about live shows is you have to have an audience. You know what I mean? And one thing I wanted to do before I ever did live shows, I wanted to at least have an audience that already enjoyed my stuff. And once I built that audience, then I was like, okay, now I'm going to go live. And actually, also, I figured out how to do it. That was another thing, as well. But once I had the audience that I thought that I could, that would want to see me go live, and then I started doing it, and sure enough, the audience has stuck around. So that's kind of my thing. I don't do a lot of live things. I usually just do one, maybe two a week. But it is a good balance. And I think everything, if you're going to go live, it should be like mine's always scheduled. I think Brian's is scheduled as well on the same day. So it's like every week, it's at this time, it's this day. Everyone knows when it is. And everyone knows if they want to show up where it's going to be. And I think that's really important.
Right. And to piggyback off that, I think you pretty much nailed it. You can always peel the layers of the onion back and go into watch time versus and all that stupid algorithm stuff. But I think, like you said, it's good to build the audience through your videos. And I look at the live stream as a better way to interact with the people that comment on your videos all the time. If you get them into your live stream, it's almost like you have a good conversation going with them.
Yeah.
And it helps because, like you said before, 6046 was my MOS. Sorry, I just saw the chat. But you build that community through those live streams as well. Because yeah, you can comment on your videos, but it feels like it's more personal when you're actually in the live chat with people.
Yeah.
And feeding back and forth and answering questions and interacting. But I hope that answers Kachung's question.
There's another question in here, and this is by Comics Are for Everybody, and this is, what would you recommend for camera and microphone? We are actually going to get to that as we go along. We actually have this broken up in sections, and we're going to get to as far as the camera and microphones that we use, we prefer. But right now, I think we're still on just why we started doing YouTube. So anyway, go ahead, Brian.
So yeah, we're definitely gonna get to that because you can go big. To follow up on the MOS question, it was 4 years, 95 to 99, which is why I went from Marine Corps to now I'm just the size of a tank. But anyhow, we got to kind of did a little quick outline, just keep us organized. But lessons learned, some of the stuff when you first start out. Also, this is kind of broken up. There's some people that do a YouTube channel and they just want to show people comic books, or there's no real aspiration to grow a YouTube channel or create a YouTube channel. And that's cool. I think some of the stuff is going to apply to both. Mm-hmm. But one of the first things we were talking about was video titles and how do you come up with titles for your videos. I know this is one thing that it might not seem important, but if you dig down into the algorithm and keywords and everything, like all that search engine optimization, SEO.
Yep.
Bueller's going to have a bunch of good stuff to say here as well. But I found one, keep a journal of ideas. I have a little Marvel notebook here that sometimes I'll just write down a bunch of video ideas to use to research. And then, but how to come up with those video titles and how to make them what they call rank and search.
Yeah.
Do you have some tips you want to add to that?
Yeah, so I've spent many hours on this, and you know what? Here's the thing. Sometimes people get a little bit of flack for like doing things like this or whatnot, you know. And here's the thing: I take a lot of pride in the stuff I do, and a lot of pride in the videos I put out, as do you do as well, Brian. And you know, so I take the time to find out as much information as I can, because when I make a video and I put it out there, and I hope that whoever who's a fan of comics has the opportunity to find it. And that's kind of my goal. Now, one thing I do with that is when I put a video out there, and this is the easiest thing to do in your title, you need to have the word comics or comic book in your title. That's an easy thing to do. And if you look at every single one of my videos, for the most part, the words comics and comic book both are in the title. That goes a long way. Obviously, we're talking comics. I talked to a gentleman that had his titles of his videos, and it said "Hot Book Alert," and I go, "That's great. I love your video, and it's awesome, and I'm a big fan. But do me a favor, put the word comic in there. Just put comic book in there, or comics or something." He's like, "Oh, okay." And I think he did it, and I think he saw a difference in just putting the word comic. But that's a basic thing. That's an easy thing that you could do. And all you really have to do is just go to YouTube or Google, type in the word comic, and then all the stuff that drops down on the search bar, those are all keyword searches, and they're ranked pretty much from one to the last. And also, this kind of goes with the title as well, but also the name of a channel goes a long way. Like Simple Man's Comics, he's got comics in there. I have Comics with Bueller. that search ranks goes very far. When I put my channel name together, it's my name came from Ferris Bueller or whatnot, but it actually came from my gamer tag. My gamer tag on Xbox has been Bueller for like the last 10 years. So that's where that came from. But a nice thing is if you go to Google and you type in comics with, okay, like the third thing that pops up right now is comics with Bueller. It's not comics with Batman, comics with Superman or whatever. It's comics with Bueller. And which I take a lot of pride in that. It used to be, it wasn't there before. And now it's like towards the top. So it's kind of cool. But it has a lot to do with putting the word comics in your title and also having that in your channel name as well. Because the first thing when search goes through is just the name of your channel. So.
Right. And one of the tools that I use for a lot of that, if you guys use like Google Chrome and Chrome extensions, there's a Chrome extension called Keywords Anywhere. And you just add that to your Google Chrome. And then anytime you do a Google search in the right side of the screen, it gives you a whole bunch of list of keywords. So you can, thinking about how you're going to do a video, you could do a title. And then to the next of it, to that right in that list, it tells you how many searches have been done for it. What's the competition for that search? There's a middle number there, but that's for ads. If you want to do AdWords, don't worry about that. But that's a good way also to find out what the competition is, how that title is going to rank, and how you can maybe wordsmith a little bit to change it up, but still fall in within that rank. And then the competition goes from 0.1 to 0.9, or 1.0 is like the highest competition is what it is. And what you want to find out is as you're starting out, you want to use the smaller competition, and then you kind of progress yourself through the search rankings. And then you can use those more competitive word searches. I'm sorry if I'm talking too geekish right now, because we were talking about this before, where it gets really exciting and digging into the research of it. But Keywords Anywhere is a good one, and then there's another one that's a Safari extension if you're a Mac, Google Chrome. But TubeBuddy is another one. There's a free tool, and was it vidIQ similar for YouTube channels that lets you do keyword planner. It lets you look at other channels to see what tags they're using in videos. So those are good tools, and they're free. I mean, there's paid tiers, but just the free level gives you a lot of good information. Yeah,
that TubeBuddy is actually a program I use. I've used it for a long time. And it's a type of program to where it's great when you start, and then it's because it's information that's already available. They just kind of package it together for you to learn. And then once you get going, I find myself using it less and less because I just know, what to do. And through time has gone on, I just kind of figured it out. Like it helps you like group your tags together that are a little bit more effective and stuff. And like I said, as I've gone through this, because I actually enjoy. I mean, here's the thing. I enjoy going through and getting into all these analytics and doing the research and like, okay, let's see how this works out. And then when I see something that I put together and put the time in, and then I see a result and stuff, that feels pretty good, because it feels like this time and effort I put into it paid off. And, I think it's evident that it's actually paid off for both of us.
Right. And like I said, I don't want to, you could sit here and you can go in each one of these topics for hours and hours and hours because it just kind of geeks you out. But I was looking to see if there's anything else in the chat also. But one other thing, going past video titles, I would say one of the next important things is the actual thumbnail for your video when it's going to be searched for in YouTube, right?
Yep.
That was a lesson that I learned a long time ago, because when you're editing thumbnails, you just put all this type of text in there, or you feel like you got to put all this text in to make it get what your video is about. And then what I didn't realize at the time is I'm editing on a big monitor, and then it goes into a small thumbnail, and it's just jumbled, and no one can really see what the heck it is.
Yeah, it's actually called color vomit type thing. Yeah. I think that's the actual phrase I heard from Tom told me about that, because that's what that guy from Valiant Comics told Tom. If you got too much stuff in there. And thumbnails, I think mine are okay, but I sure could do a lot better. And and I think that's something that's if I want to, that's just probably the area I want to improve in most. And I don't really know what a good thumbnail is. I mean, I try, and consistency is one thing I think on thumbnails. Like, and we both have our our main video of the week, which is our weekly new books, weekly picks for new books. Your thumbnail for that video is the same thumbnail layout every week with the different comics and the different date. Mine is exactly the same. It's the same layout every week. That way people can identify it. And I think that goes a long way because it's easy to point them out and easy to see them because they know exactly what that is because it's the same repetition every week. And I think that's an important thing with a thumbnail, especially when you're doing a weekly show or a weekly series. That's a constant thing. If you're doing something different all the time, then maybe it's not that big of a deal. But thumbnails, man, they're a pain in the butt, to be honest with you. But I mean, I've had a few nice ones, but really, I really want to work on them and stuff. So if anyone has any suggestions in the chat on thumbnails, now's the time to let me know.
Right. Yeah. Because I've done some, man, where I'm thinking that, like, when I'm editing it, I'm like, that's a kick-ass thumbnail. And then I see it in YouTube, and I'm like, my thumbnail's horrible. I will say one thing that was told to me that I saw on another YouTube channel was when talking about using colors, they said use sports jerseys because those sports teams spend all this money in marketing to get those colors. So use sports jerseys as color schemes to use in your thumbnails as far as like what colors can kind of go together.
Yeah.
I also heard that. Sorry, I do it in the chat, but
I do another thing to where, and this is, I was saying that, in every one of my video titles, there's the word comics and comic books is in every single title. There's also yellow in every one of my thumbnails. There's lettering in every one of my thumbnails that is yellow. And the reason why is because yellow is the most dominant color that stands out. And that's, I researched it. I looked it up. I said, what colors work good with everything, and that's the type of details that I enjoy. I get a little anal when it comes to stuff like that. But if you go look at my videos right now, for the most part, every single video has lettering that's yellow.
I noticed, yeah, I'm somewhat the same where I use a lot of yellow and then like that fluorescent green, right? Because it just seems like it stands out, especially on thumbnails if you're not putting a backing behind the text. Just something that kind of pops the text out of your picture a little bit. But so Killer Clem Melendez asked how my anniversary to Disneyland was. I didn't actually go to Disneyland. We have Disney Vacation Club, and there's a Disney resort in Hilton Head, South Carolina. So we went there. It was like staying at a Disney resort without going to the parks, but it was a good time. I appreciate you for asking. But I was looking to see if there's any more questions in the chat, kind of along. Mr. D said, if you're under 100 subs, type 1 so everyone can toss you a sub. Thanks for doing that. By all means, if you do have a YouTube channel, put it in the chat and let people know, because one big community here and always happy to share the word. So the next thing I wanted to talk about after thumbnails was, I think, title, thumbnail. You mentioned channel title as well, but I think the third most important thing is probably video tags, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think those three things combined together is what gives you strong ability to rank in search. You'll see stuff where if a video has a strong title, strong thumbnail, and strong tags, it ranks in search above these videos that have millions of views in these big time channels. It's been weird. In fact, one of my most popular videos, which I personally can't stand, is like my 10 commandments to comic collecting.
Yeah.
It ranks up there, but I watch it and it's like one of those ones like when you first started out and was doing voiceover and it's so monotone and there's no, but yeah, I mean, what's your take on tags?
Tags are the type of thing. That's another thing I just spent hours and hours on doing and researching tags and stuff. They're there for a reason, and I've kind of got a template now for every one of my videos. It's pretty standard. But one thing I didn't notice when I researched tags, and I don't think a lot of people know this, I've seen other people's tags where they used like the hashtag and then the word, and I don't think the hashtag things works that well. So I never put hashtags something like in the tag box itself. I see people put the hashtags like above their title. That might work as well. But it's one thing, and this is I like this topic.
Yeah, you could do a whole video on tags.
Yeah, because like here's the thing how tags work, and people don't realize this. The tags are variations of your title. Okay, So it's word jumbles of your title. Okay. I'll use yours. Okay. Weekly picks for new comic books. Okay. So if that's in your title, your tag has to have those type of wording in the tags for it to actually rank in search. Okay. So if yours is weekly picks for new comic books, a tag would be new picks, or I'm sorry, comic book weekly picks. That would be a tag, okay? Because that's just the word jumble in a different form, and that's how the tags work. Or different breakdowns, like weekly picks, that would be a tag. Marvel Comics, that would be a tag, and if that's in your title, you can put whatever you want in your tags and stuff. Like if you did a video and you put Comic-Con in your tags, okay? If it's not in your video title, it still works a little bit, but it's almost like a multiplier if that word is actually in your title itself. And that's one thing I've found by doing some research, is that my tags are word jumbles of my title on pretty much every one of my videos.
Right. And then one thing I've noticed also is like that TubeBuddy tools will tell you like how many of your tags appear in your title and your description. So, and there, Comics Misexplained kind of brings something up here. I've also seen some videos recently where they say the tags aren't as important anymore, or that I've also seen both sides of that. So I kind of still do it. One thing I will say is don't use tags for stuff that's not pertinent to your video or your channel, and don't try to use tags like put a tag for a bigger channel, hoping, because it doesn't rank in search that way. So if you're going to tag your video with some channel that's got like 50,000, 100 subscribers and think your video will show up in there, it doesn't work, because I've tried it.
you put in, what's that guy's name, Pootie Pie or something like that? It definitely is. I think they do work, and I saw those videos as well. One thing that that TubeBuddy program does, it actually shows the rankings for your tags and stuff, as far as like worldwide rankings for my word phrases. And I can go down and I can look at my tags list like the day after the video comes out, and like literally it'll show like out of all my, say, 30 different tags, every single one of the tags is ranked in search, like in the top 20 or above. And a lot of them will rank number 1 or 2 until you put your video out, then it goes down. But it's pretty cool. So I mean, it does help, but they have to be pertinent to what you're doing. And like I said, it does have to be related to your title as well. The title multiplier and tag multiplier, after you figure that balance out, it does a lot of good.
So I just want to take a real quick moment, a little break. Perry Comics, he super chatted, did almost $10 super chat. He also says that he has his own YouTube channel and he's just about to break 100 subs. I think he actually broke it in this chat. So if you're watching on the live stream, check out Perry Comics. And if you're watching on the replay, check out Perry Comics. But thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. So yeah, like I said, a lot of these topics you can spend a whole bunch of time on. And one thing, next thing I was going to talk about lessons learned, which I still am horrible at, which we discussed also. Like, I'm better at my filmed videos, but horrible in live stream, is like doing your call to action in videos, or saying where your videos can be found, or letting the audience know that, hey, outside of this video that you're watching, I also have a channel. I also have other content, because you never know where that video is where they're finding that video from. Yeah.
And I was telling Brian, I kind of struggle with that as well. I mean, if anybody's familiar with my videos, I kind of have the same sign on and same sign off in all my videos. I mean, it's always, hey, everybody, welcome to Comics with Bueller. I'm Bueller. Then at the end of my videos, it's, don't forget to like, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye. That's my sign off on every single one of my videos. And I like it. It's kind of fun. It's quirky and whatnot. But as far as like the call to action, like you said, as far as like reminding people about your things, and that kind of goes to the YouTuber themselves as well. Maybe they're just doing this and they just want to, put a video out and stuff. And that's great if that's all you're looking to do. And maybe it doesn't, you don't really care about like who's watching and stuff like that. But I look at it as though like I said, I take a lot of pride in my stuff I put out, and I want to put it out so other people can find content about comic books. And so the more that people are able to find my stuff, that really makes me feel really good, because that's why I'm putting it out. I'm putting it out because I enjoy it. I'm putting it out because I want people to find it. I want people to watch it, and I want people to enjoy what they watch. So it does make a difference. It does make it the research in putting the subscribe button pops up on the screen, or just make sure to like and subscribe or everything. That makes a difference. And I'll use a couple of my videos for example. So I do my comics and coffee video, and that's one of my favorite videos to do, because it's just me kind of sitting on the couch, drinking some coffee, talking about comics. It's really not too much to it, but I added the graphics to make it harder for me to do. So I don't know, that's annoying. But that video, and when I go and I look at my analytics and I look at like the people who are watching, it's something like 95% of the people that watch that video are subscribed to my channel. Okay. And then I go and I look at my other video, the weekly new books that comes out, which is like my big video. It's your big video as well. It's got like 3,000 views. And I look at that, and only 60% of the people that watch that are actually subscribed to my channel, or maybe less. Maybe it's like a 50-50 split. And I can't speak for Brian here.
Right. No, mine are about the same.
Yeah. So it's like, and I sit there and go, okay, how do I get person A from watching the weekly preview video to watching my coffee video? And for a long time, I struggled with that, and I still struggle with it type thing. But it's comic book content, and I believe they're both enjoyable videos. And so I put it in there. Don't forget to subscribe and stuff like that. And I remind people. And like I said, I always promote my other stuff. It's like on my videos. And I noticed you started doing it too, and I like that. But you're like, don't forget to check out the live stream rolling on later in the week. Yeah. Just reminding people, because that's what I'm doing. I mean, I consider this. I look at it as I don't look at it as a job. I look at it as is it a career or type thing?
I would almost say, like, you don't have a channel, you have a community, and you're the mayor of that community.
Yeah. I think that's a good analogy. But I look at it as a career that I kind of chosen, and everybody wants to pick their own career. Nobody wants to do something that they don't want to do, right? So if this is the one I've chosen for myself, I chose it because I liked it, and I enjoy it. So that's what makes it so fun for me to do, and that's why I like talking about this stuff. So anyway, there you go.
Right. So that kind of brings up, I mean, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot by asking this, but it brings up a question I get asked a couple times. Are you a full-time YouTuber?
I would say I'm a full-time YouTuber because I don't have anything else to do. That's pretty much it. It's I'm retired. I don't really do anything. And before I was doing this, I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting there and I was playing Destiny on Xbox One for an obscene amount of hours. Okay, like crazy amount of hours I was playing that stinking game for like 2 years. So I consider myself a full-time YouTuber now. I mean, I do receive some income from doing the videos, and Brian can contest to this. It's not much. It's not what people think. And I'll just tell people, ask me, oh, how much do you get on YouTube? And I'll give you an example. So the big video, let's say 3,000 views. And it's not big, but it's big for like my channel and Brian's as well. Okay. So 3,000 views. That's the life cycle of that video. And I'll look down the analytics and I go, okay, that video took me about 10 hours to put together and make. And then I go and I look at the revenue it generated, and it generated about $12. Yep. So it's like $12 for that video that just got 3,000 views. So for the time I put into it, I made about $1 an hour. Now, I don't know what the minimum wage is where you're at, but here in Oregon, it's like 14 or 13 bucks at McDonald's. I could go work an hour at McDonald's and make just as much, if not more, than I'd make doing that video. But that's not why we do it. We do it because we enjoy it. Right. It's nobody's getting rich or making payments on stuff and doing YouTube videos. At least we're not. We're not.
Right. So yeah, it's kind of I have a full-time job. I work for Department of Defense as a civilian, or civil service, I guess you could say. So And then I do YouTube as kind of like my hobby, I guess you could say. And it also helps subsidize buying comic books. But like you said, people that think you get rich off YouTube monetization, it's just not there.
Yeah. And we
But
got a super chat from Comics Misexplained. So love Comics with Bueller and pumped to see you guys chatting and dropping knowledge. Much love to you both and all your hard work. Comics Misexplained, I don't know if you've talked with him before, but he's a good guy. I've hung out with him a couple times on some live streams and some off airs, and he's a good guy. Really nice guy, actually. I really enjoy him. So Comics Misexplained, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And I'm glad you caught that because I saw it coming up, and then I was listening to you talk, and I got into your conversation. So yeah, definitely thank you, Comics Misexplained. And I think he came over from your channel over to mine, and he has been commenting and back and forth. But if there's other questions in here, because it's hard to tell what level to put this video at, right? Because I don't want to sit there and make it sound like, oh, my channel is so great. I figured the information that we can share, stuff that's helped us along the way and other people have had.
Yeah. The Model Vault says, so using Bueller as a tag in my vid doesn't work. Not really, unless you have Bueller in the title. It's probably not going to work.
Right.
But you can try it and see what happens. But you know what? What do they say? Something is the sincerest form of flattery or something. What is it?
Impersonating.
Or so, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But so you can give it a shot. You know, if it works for you, great. But more than likely, if it's not in the title, it's not going to do anything.
So I'm gonna flip flop here. Do what we got on number 5 because I think that's where you got to start, right? So if you're gonna start doing a YouTube video, what's the first thing you gotta do? You gotta make a video, right?
Yeah.
So one thing I think we kind of touched on it before is the biggest thing to do, man, is just get started. There's never going to be a good time. You're never going to have the right equipment. You're never going to have, I mean, shoot, everyone's carrying one of these around, and these things have come so many. I mean, these things are great. Some of those shoot better than DSLR cameras now, but just start filming. But
yeah, just going for it is the big thing, and that's the one thing. Camera phones work great. There's a lot of people that just use the camera on their phones, and the picture quality on like the iPhones and the Samsung Galaxies are just fantastic.
Some of them in 4K.
yeah, they look just awesome. I don't use that, you know, and we'll get to what we use here in a minute. But at one time, my first videos were shot just off the camera off a little iPad, and I used that for probably the first couple months.
I used iPhone or my cell phone, which is an iPhone, and then I did a GoPro for a while, and then I stepped up and saved money for DSLR. But I will tell you one thing: if you're using your cell phone, Android or iPhone, and you did want to like step it up just a little bit, there's an app out there called Filmic Pro. It's like $15 app, but it lets you open up a whole bunch of different Windows settings, or not camera settings, to where you have more control over exposure, frame rate, aperture, all that camera geek stuff. But so I'm seeing a bunch of stuff come up here, making sure that they get approved in the chat. But
like I said, if you guys have any questions, make sure you put a question mark by the question, so that way I can, because I'm trying to look at the chat and I'm not very good at it, but the question mark kind of at the end of the thing that kind of pops out. So if you guys do have a question, feel free to ask, and like I said, put a question mark at the end so I see it.
All right. So yeah, Comics Explained said he uses Filmic Pro. I've used it some, especially for what they call like B-roll, where you can shoot 120 frames per second and then slow it down for that nice tasty slow motion music intro stuff. But yeah, I would say just get started. Camera phones work great. GoPro, like I said. I now use a DSLR. I'm not sure what you're using, but I actually use a Canon Mark D or 6D Mark II is what I'm currently using for a lot of my videos. So,
do those have like a time limit? How long you can record on those?
Yeah, it does it it does it in not a time limit how much you can record, but it'll do it in like 30-minute chunks, and then it'll start another file.
There's a thing comment in here, not part of your scene, says Bueller is going to start cussing soon. He's PG on his videos, rated R on others. You know what? Not part of the scene. On my videos, I'm pretty self-contained. But when I get on those other videos with the people in the Comic Core, those guys tend to rub off on me and stuff. And every now and then I drop a few cuss words, but not very often. So anyway. I'm going to show you what the camera I use. I have it right here. We have props, everybody. We brought props with us. And this, I use a camcorder. So a different thing. And every video I've shot on my channel from, I would say, the very first, after the first 2 months, has been shot with this camera right here. I mean, this is the size of my hand. This has a screen and pops out, and I take this with me when I go and I do the shows and stuff like that and film. But this is what I use. It's a Canon Vivix HFR40, and if you guys look at a lot of my videos, the picture quality is really nice. I mean, it's smooth. It kind of has that camcorder feel to it and stuff like that. And I love this thing. My dad actually gave it to me, and it's the best thing I could have got. So that's what I use. I know a lot of people use like the cameras like yours, and actually most people use cameras like yours. But I like the camcorder. And then the one thing I asked Brian about how long it lets you record. This thing lets you record as long as you want, as long as you have enough battery life and the memory card to hold the video itself. And memory card is very important too, man. Trust me, I filled those things up, and battery life as well when you're covering a con.
So there were a couple questions that came into the chat. One was asking what kind of tools you use for thumbnails. I'm sorry, I forgot who asked it because it's been scrolling, but there's free apps and there's paid apps. I know a lot of people use, what is it, Canva, I think is free. Mm-hmm. I actually use what's called an Affinity Photo, which lets you, I forget how much it costs, but a lot of the free apps, it depends also. You can do thumbnails right on your phone with some apps. I've done, PhotoFox is one. Let me bring it. PhotoFox is free, and they have a paid tier. Canva, of course. There's one called Superimpose Studio that lets you do a lot of stuff. But on my Mac, I use Affinity Photo, which for most of my thumbnails now. What kind of tools do you use for? You said at one point TubeBuddy has a thumbnail creator as well.
Yeah.
Weren't you using that at one point?
That's actually, I'm still using it, and that's actually probably the main reason I still have TubeBuddy, because I don't really use any of the other features. I use it to do my thumbnails, because most people can just use Photoshop and stuff like that to do their thumbnails, and I haven't learned that yet. But I use TubeBuddy, and it's a free application. It's licensed by YouTube. It's a third party, but it's licensed by YouTube, and it's just a little thing. And they have different versions, okay? And depending on how many, here's the thing: depending on how many subscribers you have, it goes up in price. So if you have like under a certain amount of subscribers, it's free. But when you get like above 1,000 subscribers or something like that, then you have to start paying for it. They do unlock some other features, like other fonts. I mean, that's pretty much what it does. They give me more fonts for having to pay for it or whatnot. But all my thumbnails that I use are done with that TubeBuddy, because YouTube just randomly generates a picture and puts it on your thing. And that's great. If you want to use that, you can. But really, it does make a difference when you can actually make a thumbnail and, take a picture and put your lettering and graphics in there. But there are some other programs that are just free that are great that I want to learn how to use. And like you said, they're on your phone. It's an app type thing. And but right now I'm using TubeBuddy. It's free if you're below 1,000 subscribers, but it is like a light version that's free. If you're above 1,000 subscribers, it's like $5. And but if you do that, then they give you some more options. They give you more fonts, and you can build templates a little bit better and stuff, and have things like images saved, so that way you just click on them and they come over. So, but that's how they make their money. But that's why I use it, TubeBuddy. And for the most part, until I hit 1,000 subscribers, all my thumbnails were made with that, and that was the free version. So if you give it a shot, you might like it, because there's some other features that TubeBuddy does as well.
So I will say that it's shameless plug, I guess you can say, but there is a link to TubeBuddy in the description of this video.
Nice.
It is actually, I will say it's actually an affiliate link. I've never used it. I mean, I have it, but I've never used it. So I don't know what kind of kickback or anything like that for it is to me. But it was there on my TubeBuddy tool. So I was like, oh, I'll just share it in the description, but mostly just to share out the TubeBuddy link. But you can just do tubebuddy.com also if you don't want to use that link. But I do want to disclose that is an affiliate link. I just don't know what I get from it. But
so
another question that we had was, when you post a video, can you tell who watched it and whether or not they are a subscriber? You can, and I'll let Bueller add on to this in just a second, but it's going to be in your analytics, right? If you go into, if you're on YouTube and you go and click on your little icon, then they'll drop down, there's Creator Studio there, and you go into analytics, you can look at your video. You can spend, if you want to really geek out, you can spend a lot of time, and then you can watch your audience retention time to see when people are dropping off your video, how long their average view on your videos are. But you can see who it is, and then a lot of times that bare minimum, when you look at the videos, it'll tell you number of subscribed versus unsubscribed, so you can see what the percentage view rate on that video is.
It doesn't show like individual, like who watched it though. It only show at least from what I've seen, or doesn't it? Doesn't. It just shows like a pie chart, like how many percentage of who is subscribed watch the channel as compared to how many people who are not. But I don't know. There's a way for me to go and look and see if Comics Misexplained watched my video.
Yeah, it won't tell you who's watched it. It just gives you a number of percentage of who subscribed versus unsubscribed to your channel as who's watched it.
Yeah. There were some other questions in here. Man, this is awesome, man. We've been going for like 50 minutes. It doesn't feel like it.
I'm so bad.
Let's see.
I Got Issues has one, and it's what's the amount of money you think people should be committing to their YouTube gear and setup? I think that I think that's up to you, right? Yeah. I think as you scale and as you have money, whatever you want to put it into. I know I just started saving up, and then it's all personal preference. Like once you start doing your videos, it's like, oh man, I don't like the audio on this. I want to up my mic. So then you start researching mics, or okay. I think audio is more important than video, because if they can't hear you, they're not going to want to watch. And I've even messed up audio when I first started putting music in my weekly picks as background. I meant it as background, and the first time I did it, it was louder than the voice. And
man, it took me so long to figure that out.
Yeah, people definitely like you might not get comments, but when you do something wrong, you get a lot of comments.
Yeah. And here's the thing: when you put music in your video, it sounds different on every platform.
Yeah.
It sounds different when it plays on a phone. It sounds different when it plays on a laptop or a tablet or a television. So you have to find that balance. And one thing I've done is I look at your analytics will tell you, like, the people that are watching, what kind of device are they watching on? So if 80% of the people that watch the videos are on a phone, I will like, okay, if it's a phone, I want to make sure it sounds good on the phone first, type thing. And that's it's little things like that that make a difference, but it really does help.
Right. And then
but I think what he was saying about like the budget or whatnot, and this is what I did. And as far as when I started, everything I had was pretty much like I borrowed from people or they gave it to me because I didn't have a budget. And then when I started receiving some of the revenue from YouTube itself, the first thing I wanted to do, okay, I want to get a new microphone. I want the first, excuse me, the first monies I received from YouTube, new microphone, new webcam, lighting, all the stuff I wanted. That's where the money went, man, because I was excited to get that stuff because this YouTube helped me pay for the stuff I want to get to make more YouTube stuff. So that's what, and now I'm at the point to right now, the stuff I have, it's exactly what I wanted. You know, I'm happy with my cameras, my webcam, my lighting, my microphone. And I think the only thing next what I look at is eventually I'd like to get another camera and have kind of different angles of shots and stuff like that. So that's coming. So it is up to you what you want to spend. I just got lucky and I had a few people just kind of give me some stuff from family members. But really it comes down to the message that you get. It doesn't matter how good your picture quality and stuff is. If you got if your message that you're putting out, if nobody wants to listen to it, and then you could have the best looking show in the world. But if nobody wants to listen, then you know what? There's really no reason to do it, type thing. If you're trying to get people to listen, so but if people want to listen and pay attention and get something from it, and I hope that they do, then you owe it to them to try to put out the best product that you can put out. Because like I've said this before, I take a lot of pride in the stuff I do, and I want it to be polished for the people that enjoy it.
Right. So I will tell you, like, some of my recommendations, like the webcam. I think the Logitech C920 is a $50 webcam. Use what you got, but if you're looking for something to like maybe upgrade to or whatever, I think the C920 a lot of people use. For microphones, a lot of people use those Blue Yeti mics. That's what I was using before, and then once I got enough money, I upgraded to the Rode Podcaster, which is what I have now. You can research, and it's all up to how you want to spend. And Blue Snowball, just like the Yeti, Audio Technica AT2020. Whether you want to use, and then you can look at when you want to use a USB mic or you want to use an XLR. There's a lot of stuff in there. Smartphone mics, if you're gonna film with your iPhone or your Android, there's little plug-in mics that you can use that are $30-$40 that'll help that audio quality. So it's all up to your preference and how you want to produce your content, I guess you could say.
There's another question here about the Comic Cats. Do you recommend doing the YouTube edit style? So I'm assuming that's considering the little quick cuts, the jump cuts and stuff. I've never liked those, especially when people use them like all the time. It's like every other word. It's a quick cut. God, I find that annoying. But that's personal preference, and it's funny because my father and my stepmom were both. They worked in Hollywood, and they were producers and directors, and they did TV shows. And all their stuff they ever did, there was never quick cuts like that. And they saw like YouTube videos, like it made them nauseous. They're like, what type of filming is this? I go, that's kind of how it's done. And they're like, don't do that, and stuff. I go, well, that's kind of the platform, how they are. I use the motion blur on my stuff whenever I do a cut, and you can kind of see it in the video. It's very subtle. It's kind of what I like to do, but it's your preference. I don't know what you use. Do you use quick cuts like that? Because
I do at times. It depends. Yeah. I try to use some transitions, and then of course you sit there and go, "Oh, it doesn't look right." And say none of your videos are ever perfect, so it's just kind of like what you set up for. I used that trim function this week in the weekly picks because I couldn't stand my Wonder Woman saying Wonder Twins, so I cut the Wonder Woman out.
Oh, come on, really?
Because I was like, man, yeah. And then I've used it for like the Thursday night Bolo live stream. I always have that starting shortly so people know we're coming in. So then when it goes into the replay, I use that trim and I cut that down to like just a couple seconds. So people watching the replay aren't sitting there for 15, 20 seconds of just, we're starting shortly, live stream's getting ready to come, because you'll lose audience that way. But so yeah, I use it, but most of the time for video editing, I use Final Cut Pro for iMac. But we'll get into free versions of editing software and stuff like that in a minute. There was another question I wanted to look at.
I saw one. There's one by Cover Lover Comics.
Yes.
Okay. And here's the thing. I just discovered Cover Lover Comics the other night on YouTube. And so every now and then I just kind of go around looking for new channels and see. So he's got a fairly new channel. So I want to say hi to Cover Lover Comics. And I actually talked to him a little bit on Instagram. So it's good to have him in here. He says, do you feel that introducing yourself to the audience or telling a backstory to the channel helps people to relate? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, because I think this, I'm looking right at you guys right now. Okay. I mean, I don't see you guys, but you guys see me. And if you want to relate to me, then you have to know who I am. And, and I believe that I'm pretty transparent on who I am, and I tell my backstories, and I think people really enjoy them and stuff. So I think it is really important to kind of let people know who you are. I mean, obviously, it's up to you what you want to reveal about yourself or about your channel, but I think it's really good. I think it connects more with people, and I've said this to other people. The channels I connect with more, and actually like Reggie Simmons, he's in here right now. And congratulations on your 1 year anniversary today on doing comic book YouTube videos. Today is Reggie's 1 year anniversary. Reggie connects with his audience because he is looking right at the camera, and you see Reggie every time, and that's what draws me to Reggie. I look at Reggie, I connect with him, I see him every single video. He's informative, and that goes a long way. And a lot of the videos I watch, and there's nothing wrong with these videos, but it's just like you don't see the person, and it's just like they show some books, and you just see like a frame or something like that, and they never step in front of the camera. I like those channels, but I don't personally connect with that as much as I do when I actually get to see the person in front of me and like make eye contact, even though they can't see me. Look, but I like it that way, and I think it goes a long way when you kind of introduce yourself, and it's like that thing when you're like having a party. It's like you greet people when they come in, you mingle a little bit, and when they're leaving, you say goodbye, type thing. And that's kind of how I look at when I do my videos and stuff like that. So, good question.
Just real quick to piggyback off that, I think absolutely. I think that's what makes your channel unique from everyone else's. Is you. So your story,
Yep.
what you tell, how you portray your information, getting to know you, not just the comic content that you're relating. Because people's always asking, "Oh, there's so many different comic book channels out there. How am I going to do one?" Well, there's only one you. So by all means. Now, don't be sincere and be authentic.
Yep.
I mean, that kind of goes without saying, right? Don't fabricate, don't make up stories, but definitely let people know who you are and how.
This is fun, Brian. I'm having a good time. I mean, I like I'm reading all the questions and stuff, and there's another one from Comic Cats. He says, "Do you think you should spend a lot of time commenting on other people's channels?"
Yes,
I absolutely do. Here's the thing: eventually, you run out of time. And there's a lot of channels out there, and there's a lot of great channels out there. And I always try to when I find a new channel and stuff, I try to make a comment and try to connect with that person, because I enjoy meeting new people and interacting with those people. Now it comes to a point where and I've wrestled with this choice, and it might not have been the right choice, but I would look at my analytics or my monthly thing from YouTube, and I would look, and it has a thing on how many comments you get per day. And it got to the point to where there was 180 comments a day. Okay. And do I possess the capacity to respond to 180 comments a day? No, I'm not very good at that stuff. I'll just flat out say it. I'm not very good. This social media thing, I'm learning it and stuff like that. And I feel bad, because at the time I could comment to everybody, and I wish I still could, but just so many, and I thank everyone for it. One thing I do make a point of is, like, if I see a live stream, because I like commenting in real time. I like to actual go to a live stream. They're saying something, I can say, "Hey, what's going on?" And then they say, "Hey, how are you?" type thing. I enjoy the real time interaction a lot better. So anytime I see like a live stream that's going on, I always jump in at least for a little bit. I'm usually sitting on my computer editing videos, because both of us make a lot of content, and there's hours and hours go by. But it's very important, I think, to jump in and kind of, get to know people and stuff like that, because I think it goes a long way, because there's a lot of networking. Me and Brian didn't know each other, but we know each other now because of this medium, and we've talked a few times, and we talk all the time on Instagram, and we check up on each other and how we're doing. And that's all because we're doing YouTube channels in our 40s, So, so anyway.
Right. Get big shout out to Reggie Simmons. Just did a $5 super chat. Also, if those aren't aware, it's Tuesday, so I started doing a Tuber Tuesday series where each Tuesday I highlight another YouTube channel. And today's Tuber Tuesday video is actually Reggie Simmons' channel. So, if you don't watch my video, definitely check out his channel at least, because his channel is freaking fantastic. And I noticed also when I did my Tuber Tuesday video for you, Bueller, the week before. I should have just called it fantastic, because I think I said fantastic about 50 times.
Dude, I repeat myself all the time. It's like I give my, of course, I'm more critical on myself than probably the people who are watching. But I said, like, it's my favorite, like 4 times in a row. Like, it's my favorite. And then I like this book because it's my favorite. And then that one's my favorite as well. And I find myself doing that a lot. It is what it is.
So, I just want to check to see if there was any other questions that we if we haven't addressed your question and you want it to be answered, make sure ask again by all means, because it's not being overlooked. It's not being overlooked on purpose. But
Barbarian Kung
talked
Fu.
about video. We kind of talked about audio. The next thing I think would be lighting, right?
Yeah. Real quick, Barbarian Kung Fu asked if it's easier to create a thumbnail on a computer or phone. Barbarian, I've only ever done it on my computer myself, so I wouldn't really know if it's easier to do it on the phone. But lighting is really important, man, and I love lighting. It was from before my lighting, and I've showed pictures on Instagram, okay, of my homemade lighting setup with just the random lights hanging from the thing and taking the lampshades off and all this stuff, and it just looks like, what is going on? And then I got an actual lighting set off Amazon, which has like umbrella lighting and white lights and all this stuff. And it is literally, and honestly, this is kind of ironic, it's night and day difference, because it's lighting, but it makes such a big difference. And the set I bought was on Amazon for $79.99. And it was just the best $80 I could have spent. It was free shipping. It showed up like 2 days later, and I fell in love with this thing because lighting goes a long way. And I'm going to kind of segue on the lighting. Light up your comic books, man. Make them look pretty. It does make a difference. And when you have lighting and you can set up your comic, and I have the setting here for a reason. And the one thing we all kind of struggle with our lighting and stuff is the dreaded glare that we get on comic books. Okay. I set up when I have my comics, and if you watch like my 50 Cent videos and stuff, like when I show a bunch of comics, I have a stand. I always use a stand on my comics. I always have a stand. My coffee videos, they're on a stand. I look at it. I make sure there's no glare. It's set up every time so there is no glare. And that makes a big difference. When you have lighting, it takes a little bit of effort because you have lighting coming in from different angles, and there's soft lights and other type of lighting. But make sure you have the comic, and you can do it. I mean, either way, it works for you. And actually, Nerdy Couch, he's a new YouTuber, just started as well. He had his comics, and he had a stand by him as well, and they were presented very well. And I think, highlighting the comic goes a long way. And that has a lot to do with lighting because I like to make it look brighter. And I even touch up the color as well. I make it look a little brighter as well when I do the videos. But lighting is awesome. If you can get good lighting, it goes a long way.
So I made that mistake where I did a haul video once, and I had me lit fine, and I thought like the stand of my comics in front of me was lit. And then you go back and watch the video, and it's like you could barely make out what the comics were. And like I said, if you don't get comments on your videos, when you do something wrong, you get comments, and they're like, "Man, I can't see your comics. What the F, man?" And I was like, "Yeah, messed that one up." But and not saying go out and buy a bunch of lighting. I mean, use what you have. Also, if it's daytime, film by a window, film by a glass door.
Natural lighting is the best thing you can use. Natural lighting is the best.
Cheap stuff, and then like you said, and then scalability, man. Work yourself up to better stuff as you go. I bought some LED lights because most of my stuff, this office is in a basement, and I got no lighting outside, just a little cheap thing. So I use little freaking LED lights for most of my stuff, and they were cheap. I mean, you can see it. One actually on a stand behind me is $50. The little LED standing up back there, but yeah, definitely mess with it. And then if you have to film like a couple minutes of it and watch it back on yourself, because that way you can adjust your lighting as well. Because I've done that before where I think it's well lit and then it's like a bad camera, man. It's just the lighting's blown out and I'm just like freaking powder.
Yeah. I think lighting and also framing is another big thing about doing videos. Having things just framed right and perspective goes a long way. And my dad's a fisherman. Okay, he's retired and all this stuff. He's a fisherman, and whenever he catches a fish, he holds it way out in front of him when he takes a picture, so the fish looks bigger. Yeah. Okay, and I use that same technique when I show comics. Like when I show like my comics, the actual comics are way out in front of me. So if you can't tell that I'm reaching this far away, but I'm like reaching all the way around to get to these comics. And it's all about framing so that the comic is actually highlighted and it takes up at least 50% of the actual scope itself. I think that goes a long way.
So Comic Cats, right, in the chat. They said they did a video where they ride Comics Tom. Was this a good idea or bad idea? I watched that video, and me personally, I loved it. But I think it all depends on people's sense of humor. But I watched it and I laughed. I thought it was great. Comic Cats, by the way, is the name of their channel. But I like them. That they're one of those ones. They have a comic channel, but they're unique, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just they're doing stuff that other people don't really do, and it's a different flavor, and I really enjoy it. But
that makes a difference, man. That's kind of how I got started. Is when I first started, the stuff I was doing was very unique, and to use that word. One of my videos I did was like the sign language video, where I was doing like showing, it was a haul video. Then I had someone there doing sign language on the videos, and nobody had done that before. And a lot of people watched it and they really enjoyed it and kind of stood out. And I think when you put your own stamp on things, it goes a long way. It kind of, you have your own identity. And I haven't done one of those in a long time because as time goes on and things get, the ball kind of starts rolling, it's really hard to, if there's other people involved, to kind of rein them in, and because they got lives too, type thing, so it's like, it's a lot easier to just like, if it's just me doing it, I know my time schedule and when I can do it and when the videos are done, and not having to be like, oh, I hope they can make it type thing. So, I mean, that's kind of why I haven't done that, because the girl that was helping me, she's like full-time job and she doesn't like comics and stuff. So, I mean, she was just doing me a favor. So that was kind of
giving
cool.
you the stink eye signing like Hulk.
Yeah, she was probably saying like, this guy's an idiot. He's making me be here or something like that,
Yeah. My little quick side story. My kid played soccer, and there was a kid on the team. The dad was deaf, and he was like, you could tell he played like professional soccer, was good at soccer, but of course, because his son was really good at soccer, and the wife would sign everything to him, which I'm doing it now, which is going to be the point of my story. And I recognized her. I couldn't recognize her from where, but she was one of the people that works on the base. That's a civilian as well, and she's the one that goes to the meetings and does signing for the hearing impaired. And me, I don't know, being insensitive or what, but as you can tell, even during the live stream, I use what they call like Italian PowerPoint, where I use my hands a lot. So I went up to her and I went to say, "Hey, I recognize you from the base. You're the one that does the signing for." But of course, I go up there and I'm like, "Hey, I know you. You're doing the," and she's just looking at me like I'm freaking crazy. I'm like, "Oh yeah, my bad. I don't know if that's insensitive or not." But
I don't think so. William Warner says, Bueller, I'm really digging your background layouts as well. And me and Brian were talking about that before we started. My background layouts are sets that I have built for every single video that I do. And every video that I do has its own identity, to where I wouldn't even have to be in front of the video. You would be able to identify which one it is. And I do that on purpose. I literally try to make every single one of my videos look different. It's never the same set on one of my videos. The coffee video is a different set. My 50-cent haul videos, it's the camera's position different. It's a different set. My live streams or my those are a different set. My top 10 video that came out today, that's a different set. And literally, they're just different walls in my house. I'm sitting in my dining room right now. I've now made my dining room my studio. And there's 4 walls, and I got like a mobile green screen that I use, and then my sets and everything, and they're all set up, and I just basically just rotate the camera around depending on which one I'm doing. So I take a lot of time in setting it up. I think the background, I think everything's very, I think it needs to look nice. Like I said, I keep saying this, and I mean it. I take pride. I look at it, I take pride in what I put out there, and I want it to look nice. And my mom and my sister and stuff, they really like to decorate and everything, and they don't decorate in my sets, but from what I've ever watched them do, they always, presentation's very important to them, and that's kind of rubbed off on me as well. So William, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Are you watching that that chick that everyone's watching on Netflix now? What's her name? She does like cleaning up or whatever, and I forget. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but there's some show on Netflix. I guess a bunch of people are watching it. they're using it as inspiration to clean up rooms and decorate rooms and stuff.
Oh
But,
no, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I do similar. Like I said, most of my stuff, I used to use a green screen, and it just became a hassle. So a lot of times, I just sit in different parts of my home office now, whether it's in front of my monitors, back there behind, right in front of my bookcase. So I just kind of try to mix it up to change the scenery up a bit for certain videos. But
got it. I almost dropped that. So this is for somebody in the chat.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So I just want to put that out there. So there we go. That's for someone in the chat. I miss
tidying up. That's what it's called. Sorry.
Yeah.
Bubblehead Rob put it in there. That means he watches it. I'm just kidding. But so we've gone, just to recap real quick. So we've gone over why we started, some lessons learned with video titles, thumbnails, tags, lighting videos, recording videos, kind of touched on audio. I guess the final thing when you're getting ready to do that video is editing, right? I know, like I said, I use Final Cut Pro. Are you still using iMovie?
Man, I am. I am.
Let people know the level of work that you use with iMovie.
No, nobody should know because it's horrible. So, for the most of you, you've probably seen my videos, and some of you maybe haven't. And I feel free to go and check out Comments with Bueller. You can subscribe if you like.
Link to his channel is in the description of this video, by the way.
There you go. I appreciate that.
And there'll be a card for those watching on the replay. There'll be cards popping up with his channel.
Thank you so much. But let me break down a video with iMovie, and this is the program I have used from day one,
and it's free.
It's free, and it's great. Everyone has probably seen my videos, and they really enjoy them, and I think they look good because I really take the time to make them look good. At least I think so. But if you watch my video I did today, and so which is my top 10, it has me in a little box, okay, then like a really cool background, and then there's like a little bar down below with the title and the name and stuff that's going on, and then there's like little clips, okay, like one little thing says new comics. There's a little box that says new comics, and then above that it says top 10, and there's some stuff going on here. A good program, and probably one that Brian uses, you could sit there and you could take that and you could build that, and then you just do the video. My program, iMovie, it lets you build it, but it only lets you build it one piece at a time. So what I do, this is just ridiculous, and I told this to Brian last time, and he was like, "You got to be kidding me!" I can only lay in one graphic at a time. So I literally film the video, I put it on the thing, and then I take that little thing that says top 10, and I put that up above my head or whatnot. I have to process the video and fully process it, like let it run, and then build another copy, and then reload that copy in, and then lay the other image that says new comics, right down there. So by the time I'm done doing those videos, there is literally 30 different versions of that video with different cuts that are missing those little boxes this one doesn't have the top 10. This one doesn't have the new comic. So I put those all in there one at a time. And that's why it takes me so long. That's why it took me 17 hours to do that last Just the Keys video, the Wolverine, because I had to lay in every single one at a time. I want to learn something new, Brian. You got to help me out.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like the way they used to film those old Disney movies where they had different layers of animation they keep having to add to film over top of it. But Comic Cats, how do you feel about drinking during filming? Does that mean like on screen? I think it also depends on who your audience is, who you're trying to reach, and then of course if I don't know how that affects if you're going to try to monetize. So we touched on monetization, but we never talked. What's the requirements right now for monetization? You have to have 1,000 subscribers and was it 4,000 hours of watch time?
Yeah, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time within a 12-month period.
Right.
And then once you qualify for that, then your channel goes in review, and it usually takes out either a month to month and a half for it to get approved. And they pretty much go through it with a fine-tooth comb to make sure everything's legit and stuff, because they're not going to partner with you if you got something fishy going on. And they check that every month. It's not like something like they just do it and forget it type thing. They check it every month. We get statements every month, that everything's good, and reports and stuff like that. So, but once you hit that threshold, then you are good to go. I get a phone call just now, but those are the requirements so far. Then once you hit that requirements, then you can once you get approved for monetization, you can start putting ads, and they show up automatically on your videos. And then if you do live streams, you're available for super chats, and people are, if they feel like gifting you some money, they have the option to do that, And I think I was your first super chat. I think you said
Yes.
it was pretty cool.
Pop my super chat cherry.
It was an honor to.
I didn't know how to react. It was like
I know. It was
a couple weeks ago. I think I stopped everything. But
but it's kind of cool, just to think that someone, does that, takes, appreciates your efforts and stuff. And I appreciate your efforts, and that's why I did it. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. I will say, a lot of those times out there, people like the subscribe to my channel, I subscribe to yours, or paying for subscribers. I recommend don't do that, because you might get the subscriber count, but you're not going to get the engagement on your channel.
Yeah.
Because or views, if you're paying for views or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then your audience retention goes down, and YouTube's not going to rank your video or recommend your video to in search.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that's, there's a lot of people out there that are just, how many subscribers and stuff like that. And having a lot of subscribers is great, but really, if you got a lot of subscribers and nobody's watching your stuff, it doesn't do any good. I'd rather have 1,001 subscribers and have 40,000 people watching my video, type thing. So it's I always look at it, and it's not the subscribers, it's the amount of people that take the time to watch the video, whether they're subscribed or not. That's what I look at the most. Right.
Nerdy Couch asked, what about music in a clip or vid, and how important is it? So you hear a lot of stuff about fair use. I know I've sampled some things. I don't know all the law of that. I usually try, if I do something, I try to keep it under about 7 seconds, just try to be as safe as possible. But a lot of the actual music and stuff I use in my videos, I don't use any copyrighted music. It's YouTube. YouTube has free music you can use. There's actually some decent music in there. I think Facebook has, if you Google Facebook music or something like that, Facebook has music you can download and use in your videos. I actually got to a point where there's a subscription thing where I think I pay like $12 a month for a site called Epidemic Sound. And that's the music all the music you've been hearing in my videos, from the intros and stuff over the past probably 6 months, all comes from there. And I think it's worth it. But it all comes down to the money you want to put into your channel and what you're going to afford. But I hope that answers your question. I know some people, it all comes down to like reaction videos, and I don't know all the law and stuff like that, but I would just be wary, especially once you get to monetization, because you can get copyright strikes, and then they'll demonetize your channel and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've never used, I've always used YouTube. Like you said, YouTube has its own free music and stuff, and that's the only thing I've ever used. And I've never used any other video or audio, just because of what you just said. I don't know I think there's like a threshold as far as seconds what you can show, but there's really no reason for me to use it, type thing, to use that video or whatnot. So it's like it doesn't come up when we're showing paper, so it's not that big of a deal.
So also, one thing I noticed, if you're not already monetizing and you put music in your video, sometimes stuff that will happen is you'll get a message from YouTube saying, hey, you're using someone else's music, which is fine, but now they're putting ads over your video, but that ad revenue is going to the owner of that, who has the rights to that music.
Yeah, so, music is a tricky thing, man. It's like I stay with all the YouTube music that they have, and then I stay with the stuff that because they have music that you don't even have to put in like the creator or anything like that. There's a whole separate section, and there's no voices or whatnot. It's mainly just instrumental stuff, and that's the stuff I kind of stick with, so I know for sure that everything is good.
Yeah, the YouTube has a bunch of good choices in there, and you can search by genre, you can search by mood, you can search by a bunch of different stuff. They even have some sound effects in there. Final Cut has sound effects as well. It's not as great. It lets you select from your iTunes library, but of course that doesn't help you much because most of that's copyrighted music. But Yeah, so I hope that helps and answers your question. Um, I wanted to say also when we were talking about editing, there are some other free alternatives. I haven't used all of these. I used iMovie before, and bless your heart. If you're using PC, Windows Movie Maker's out there, which is free. Then there's two others I saw that were free. One's called OpenShot, which is for Windows or Mac, and then there's one called VSDC, Victor Sierra Delta Charlie, which is Windows only. But VSDC, I was just saying the other words for phonetic alphabet. So yeah. Is there any other questions? What if we weren't going to make money off the channel stealing music? Common Cat says if we aren't going to make money off the channel, stealing a few seconds of a song would be okay.
I think personally, I think you could probably put whatever you want on there. But I mean, eventually, I think that I don't know how YouTube's things works or whatnot, but I mean, I know thumbnails like they can pick a thumbnail out within like 2 seconds and say, okay, that's not suitable type thing.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how their stuff works as far as like video or music, but if it's anything like their thumbnails, it's pretty quick. And if that's the case, I've never gotten one of those strikes because, like I said, I've never used that stuff. For what we do, I don't think it doesn't come into play very often. If we were doing something else, we were reviewing like a TV show or a movie type thing, obviously you'd probably be using clips. So I'm sure there's something in there you can do it, but I really don't know. And it's still actually something I wouldn't mind finding out.
So I will tell you, like, not for my channel, but for a bunch of us that went to Baltimore Comic-Con, I took a bunch of video, pictures, and stuff like that, and made a little slideshow type video, like kind of like a yearbook type.
Yeah.
And I didn't put it on my channel. I put it on my personal stuff. It was unlisted, so I could share it out. And I put Dropkick Murphy's music over top of it, and it went up. And sure enough, I got a message from YouTube saying, hey, you're using music. And like I said before, it's like you can keep it there, but now we're putting ads on your video, and they're getting the monetization for the ad revenue. Yeah. So I think it also depends on who owns the copyright for that music and how they have it through YouTube, because I know some people, they'll be like, no, take it down, or they can select there's the YouTube Creator Academy is what it's called. There's a whole bunch of different courses on there you can look at. There is one on copyright. You can take that and get YouTube certified, which doesn't mean much. You get a little badge. It's supposed to be for 6 months, but it goes more into detail on that.
There's a question by Iron Galactus. Do you think a strong Twitch community will develop? And do you ever think about trying to stream there? You know what? I don't know if there's enough time in the day to tackle that as well.
I think I know more and more content creators from YouTube are going over to Twitch, but I still think that the gamer community has the biggest hold on Twitch. I know there's a lot of comic artists that are starting to stream on Twitch, and they're doing like live streams on Twitch of them doing art, just like they do live videos on Instagram. I think the key to whatever social media platform you're using is just try to make it native to that platform, and don't try to spam the same stuff across like one video across multiple platforms. That's easier said than done, but that's a whole nother different topic.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine tackling another one. Trying to do that and stuff. It's just for the stuff I do and everything. It takes up a lot of my days. I enjoy doing it, but it's time consuming, which is good because before I didn't have nothing to do.
Right. Yeah, and like Kingpin says, having a good stable internet connection helps. So.
Yeah, not stealing your neighbor's internet helps too, because that's what I was doing for a long time. So I got my own internet now, so that's why you guys see me doing more live streams, because I've got real internet and stuff.
So we kind of gone through everything. One thing I wanted to do is some of the YouTube channels that I've used to research for that aren't comic book related. They're just like YouTube growth related. There's a bunch of different channels out there. Nick Nimmin is one, and I'll put a bunch of these. They're not in there now, but I'll go back and put a bunch of links to their channels in the description. Nick Nimmin's one. Roberto Blake is one.
Brian G. Johnson.
There's video influencers. And then if you're looking for especially like tech and gear reviews and suggestions, like, hey, what kind of camera do I want to use? the same guy from Video Influencers has another channel called Think Media. His name's Sean Cannell. Those are all 3 channels. And if you're looking for one for video and photography, definitely check out Peter McKinnon. Those are channels that what's new information. There's a whole bunch out there. And then once you start looking at some of those channels, you'll see who they collab with on their videos, and you'll start going over to their channels. So it's a big big community of their own. Hey, how to create YouTube content community.
Yeah, that's what the Brian G. Johnson guy. I watched a bunch of his stuff, and actually he's kind of the guy that mentioned the TubeBuddy thing at one time, because I didn't know what tags were when I started, and I saw this box sitting next to these videos, and I was like, what does that mean? And so I typed it out.
You're it.
Yeah, and then I typed it into YouTube, and his thing came up, and so I've used his stuff pretty good. It's hard to translate it sometimes over to our medium, like comic books, because the stuff he talks about is more mainstream, I guess, So the translation is a little tougher, but you can take bits and pieces of it and kind of incorporate it into what you want to do, and if you want to kind of grow the channel, if that's your expectations that you've set, it definitely does help out.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, this whole point of this video, like you said, you can geek out on this stuff forever, and you don't know what type of audience that's coming into this. It was just a way of us to share information, stuff that lessons learned. By no means are we saying, I'll tell you right now that I'm not the expert on this. My channel's still really small, but it's what I'm using to try to grow it. If that's what you want to do, I want to say, like I said, it's not really a channel. You want to try to grow your community and the audience, but
yeah, I'd agree. I think it's this video is for the people that are in the comic book that do comic book videos. Okay, so you'll see all these channels that do like the growth or how to grow the channel, and like I said, they're very generic. They cover everything. We're talking about fellow nerds like ourselves and who want to do comic book and stuff. Obviously, Brian and myself, I've been doing a little over a year, and I've really enjoyed it. And I've, I think for our niche area, it's hard to say, because I mean, 4,000 subscribers, is it a lot? No, it's not a lot. But when you look at like kind of our group, maybe it is a lot type thing. But in reality, 4,000 people watching my video out of the billion people that are in the world, it's not on any type of ballpark whatsoever. But we're here to I like helping people, and give them advice. And there's a lot of people in this chat I've talked to, and they've asked me questions, and that's kind of why we wanted to do this. And Brian's got the same stuff as well. People ask him questions and stuff, and there's no reason why it has to be behind the scenes. So hopefully if this helped you guys out in any way, I know it's helped me out from some of what Brian said. Basically, I know I got to get rid of iMovie for sure, but it's helped me out. So I mean, it's been fun.
Right. We kind of discussed before we started, that full disclosures, this was one of the videos that I was kind of nervous about, because I didn't want to in no way sit there and try to present, oh, look at our channels. It's nothing like that. We're not, I don't consider, like I said, I don't consider myself one of the biggest channels. It's just something I said, hey man, we both have this information. We've both had some freaking lessons learned. There might be some people out there that can use some of the information. And then also there's people in the chat that provided useful information that we're not aware of. So I think it was a good live stream. I did want to say something to, was it Comic Cats? And he's asking about music again. I think you have more, if you're not trying to monetize or anything like that, I think you have more flexibility with what you use. So I think using a couple seconds for a jingle, because I know there's a lot of channels out there, smaller channels, that they're using Metallica in their intros and stuff like that. And I don't want to say, yeah, go for it, but I think you have some flexibility there. I think, like I said, they might just put ads over it and they get the revenue.
There's one thing I wanted to cover before we kind of wrap it up, and that's kind of where I think we're heading. one thing I do, and I think this is very important, and whether you're doing a channel, you know, for different reasons, I set a goal for myself and for my channel. Okay. And I don't think there's anything wrong with setting a goal. And because my goal for my channel is based on, you know, myself, you know, and you should have goals in life type thing. So I set a goal for my channel and I look at it and I go, okay, I'm going to release this content type thing. And I really want to hit a mark. I want people to enjoy it type thing. And my goal is for people to enjoy it and put out content that people do enjoy. And I think that's really important. I think that gets overlooked sometimes. And it's people will overlook the numbers and stuff or kind of dive too deep in the numbers. And I look at the numbers all the time. And I'm like, okay, what did I do in this video that it didn't do as well as the last video type thing? And what was the length of the video and what was the numbers? And I look at that stuff all the time. I'm not ashamed to say that, you know, because I like to see what works. I'm not obviously not going to do something that doesn't work over and over again. There's a theory to that. We're doing something that doesn't work over and over again. That's insanity or something. I think that was said by Einstein or something like that. But you know, I think I set a goal on my channel. Whether I hit those goals and stuff, I don't know. But, you know, I think it's important to have a goal if that's something you want to focus on.
Right. So there's one thing we didn't really touch on that I want to kind of bring up on here. If you are in the mindset of, hey, I want to grow my channel, one of the most important things also is be consistent with content. Yes. At least like one video a week. Or one thing that helps that a lot of people put in their channel art, if you have set days of when you're doing videos, put that in your channel art, like new videos Tuesdays and Wednesdays or live stream on Thursday. But what I found is if you're consistent, if you don't have like months and weeks gaps between you upload a new video, it helps as well. So try to be consistent with your content. You'll hear some people say, oh, you got to do 2 videos a week. You got to really, I think as long as you're being consistent with how you're doing your content, I think that helps.
Yeah. Yep. And then when you don't do a video, and then the other guy that does a video very similar, and all of a sudden he gets a bunch more views because you didn't do it as well. Thank you, Brian, for that. Vice versa, probably.
Yeah. But yeah. So when we were talking about TubeBuddy earlier, Kachung's asking about TubeBuddy. So I'll hit you up on IG as well. But there's one other site out there. It's called AppSumo, and they do a lot of types of website apps, a bunch of different marketing apps, but every now and then I've never been able to catch it. But Brian G. Johnson that Bueller was referring to, every now and then they do like a lifetime membership for TubeBuddy for like $30, and it's like at like their pro tier. So I keep looking and I never make it. And Kingpin says, do you use OBS? The Thursday Bolo stream, I do use OBS Studio. I know I think some other people use Streamlabs OBS, which is only for PC right now, which is like OBS Studio on steroids, I want to say. But yeah, I do use OBS Studio for the CBSI Bolo live stream that's every Thursday at 9 p.m.
That's be on the lookout for.
Yeah, right? Be on the lookout.
It took me a while.
That's why I just started naming the video like hottest comic releases or something, because it's so hard to... When you're talking about thumbnails, that's one that's hard to do because you're like, no one's going to know what this means. But yeah, OBS is great. And there's a bunch of YouTube videos out there for using OBS and adding graphics. And just one thing to be aware of when you're using OBS, the more stuff you add in, more graphics, make sure you have a computer that has enough resources to handle it, or it's going to lag out your stream. That's where a lot of those gamers and Twitch streamers uses OBS.
Yeah.
But is it? Yes. So Kachung asks, is it safe being linked to a Google account? That's the main question for TubeBuddy. I believe to use TubeBuddy, you have to sign in with a Google account. Isn't that correct? Like their site and everything. But
I don't know for sure. I think so. That's all I was using anyway, so I didn't have to create anything because it was already on there.
One thing we didn't touch on was upload defaults, right? For your videos. Do you use upload defaults?
I should. I don't. It's just I should. Let's do it that way.
So just to touch on it real quick, upload defaults in Creator Studio on YouTube. If you're doing a lot of the same, like how I do weekly picks, or if you're doing videos that for the most part are going to be the same except for a little part of your description, you can do upload defaults and set stuff in there as if you're setting up one video, but each time you upload a new video, it'll carry over, so all that stuff's already there. So if you're doing like hey, subscribe, or here's the link to this video, and you want that in all these videos, it just makes it easier, so you don't have to type it every time. But
yeah, no, I don't use it. I need to, because I do type. I just copy and paste them. I literally have files on my computer to where it's just like the thing. I just copy and paste, and it goes over there. And when I put my videos together, it's just a little file. It's actually labeled, like there's a file that says comics and coffee. So I just click on that file, drag all the stuff all the templates I use as far as my nameplate or the logo or the graphic or whatnot that pops up. It just drags it on in. So I kind of have the same thing with my videos itself.
But yeah, so I think we touched on a bunch of stuff. I'm really happy with everyone that joined the chat and all the questions that were asked. I hope you guys find some of this information useful. If you have questions afterwards, by all means, feel free to hit us up in the comments. I'm sure you can hit Bueller up on his channel. But what cover artist do you like or love? But do you have a favorite cover artist right now?
That's McFarlane.
McFarlane?
He doesn't really do much covers anymore, and actually just pretty much writes. And he is doing the covers for the Spawn Killed Everybody Again and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it's always been McFarlane, and I have a personal connection to McFarlane, so I'm kind of biased. So that's just the way it is. So.
I like a bunch, but one of the ones that's been my favorite lately is Paul Green, and he does mostly like Zenoscope variants, cosplay variants. But so Paul Green, of course, you can always go down through Martina, Delatos, and a bunch of the hot ones right now. But I think at that point, I think we're kind of coming to a close to this. We were shooting for an hour. We went over just a little bit, but I think the information was good. I'll give you the last word, Bueller.
Well, I want to give everyone kind of an update because Tom and myself were supposed to do a live stream today. Tom is up in Seattle. They've been having a huge snowstorm over the last week. And they actually declared like a state of an emergency up there. And I don't know if it's still going on, but his internet's kind of spotty. He tried to go live the other night. It kept cutting out on him. I'm sure if you guys are fans of Tom, you guys are aware that he was trying to do a live stream. It just kept on cutting out. So we didn't do it today, unfortunately, but we are planning on doing I will be on his regular live stream tomorrow if he's able to go live. I'm hoping that he is. I'm hoping things are clearing up. But we're going to start doing a show every week on Tuesdays. I think it's going to be like 5:30, and I'm pretty excited because Tom and I we're both in the Pacific Northwest. And we both like to talk about comics, and we're both a couple of nerds and stuff like that. So it should be a lot of fun. And then, I have my live stream on this Friday as well, and at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I gotta say this because it's kind of cool, and I really enjoy this because it can save people money. But if you're looking for comic book supplies, if you go to maxprosupplies.com. Whatever you buy there, type in the code Bueller, which is just awesome. You type in the code Bueller at checkout, and you get 10% off your entire order of your comic book supplies or whatever you want. So it's kind of my sponsor of my channel, and they're actually located here in the Pacific Northwest as well. That's kind of why I wanted to get them on board. I just wanted to tell Brian, thank you. This is awesome. I was excited to talk about this stuff with you. And you know what? I watched a lot of your videos from the very beginning, and I took in ideas from your videos and tried to make them my own. And I just want to say thank you so much. And, you said this before that we're kind of like you're my brother on the other side of the country type thing. And that's kind of how it works. Yeah. I can tell we're very similar guys. So this has been a lot of fun. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah. Just like I did with Jack, I know I promised you the last word, but I wanted to bring up, we mentioned a lot of channels. If you guys do like comic-related content, and if you aren't aware of them yet, make sure you guys check out Comic Time 101. Great channel, has a lot of great content on there as well. So a lot of times we mentioned also, Bueller and I mentioned, that you'll see this a lot where I was talking before, where people are like, well, I don't want to start a YouTube channel because there's so many comic book channels out there already. Well, if you look at Bueller's channel and my channel, you'll see we have a lot of similar video concepts, but they're also different. So don't, if I'm going to finish with anything, don't be scared to make a channel. Just get out there and start doing it. And if you, one thing also, if you feel like, hey, I want to get better at my camera before I start, just go out there and create a YouTube channel and then make everything private. Start posting private videos that only you can see. And then that gets you more comfortable with how you want to do your workflow, how you want to make your videos, how you want to do whatever. But that's how you get comfortable. And then before you know it, I'm still not totally comfortable, especially with live streams. Like, I'm always worried about like, what technical issues is going to happen. Yeah, but by all means, just do it.
Absolutely.
For the Oregon guy out there and freaking Nike, just do it.
Yeah, there you go, man. I'm actually wearing a Nike shirt right now. The Nike store is right down the street.
So yeah, Comics with Bueller, descriptions in there. I'll add the descriptions for the other YouTube channels we're talking about for YouTube type growth. And appreciate you guys coming out. Appreciate you guys watching the live stream. And now, do you have any last words, Bueller? Because I'm going to close it out.
Just once again, thank you everybody in the chat. Thanks for so many questions. I really enjoyed getting to the questions. If we missed any questions, I recommend just leaving them in the comments below, and I'll check it, and I know Brian will check it, and we'll see what we can come up with. Now, this is just our advice, so we don't know if we're any good at it, but we'll give it to you. But thanks everybody for coming out tonight. This is a lot of fun, and who knows, maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Definitely, and hope to have Bueller back on my channel, and I'm always excited to come on your channel whenever you want me to, man.
Awesome.
All right. Good night, guys.
Bye, everybody.